Hey guys, welcome to our daily encounter. How wonderful it is to walk under the light of God's presence, to walk under God's favor in His guidance and also with His manifested presence. It's a wonderful way to live, and could even say it's the only way to live leaning on the Lord under His favor, His guidance, and His presence as He helps us through this often treacherous life that we live. This is what we find the Lord doing with Israel. As the psalmist in Psalm 44 is reminded of the things that God had done for Israel in the past, the things that were handed down to them, to his generation by the forefathers. He can say that, it was really God's presence, the light of his presence that brought them through. He says in verse 3, "For by their own sword they did not possess the land, and their own arm did not save them. But your right hand and your arm and the light of your presence, for you favored them." Just because they were walking under the light of God's presence. And the light of God's presence can represent several things. As mentioned, it can refer to the guidance that God provided. Light oftentimes is spoken in terms of guiding a person, giving a person direction. We could think about in Psalm 19, your word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. The light of God's presence gave them direction in the wilderness. And we could say literally there was a light directing them as we think about the fire by night. But nonetheless, it was God directing them. But also the light of his presence could refer to the fact that his presence was manifested. When something comes to light, it's manifested. And the Lord definitely manifested his presence to them time and time again, through the plagues, through the opening of the Red Sea, through the providing of the manna, the water coming from the rock, him coming upon Mount Sinai and speaking to them, the cloud by day and the fire by night, and then also when the glory filled the tabernacle. So many different times that the Lord manifested his presence to his people. And that could be part of what's being spoken about here. But maybe what's really being spoken about maybe more closely is just his favor. Because it says, in the light of your presence, for you favored them. And so the Lord showered on them the light of his presence in that he showed them his favor. His loving kindness was with them. This seems to be borrowing from the Aaronic blessing in Numbers 6, starting in verse 24, where it says, "Yahweh bless you and keep you. Yahweh make his face shine on you and be gracious to you. Yahweh lift up his face to you and give you peace." And so to walk in the light of God's presence, to have his face shining on you as he lifts his face on you, seems to be pointing towards his favor. The opposite example could come from Psalm 88, where it says in verse 14, "O Yahweh, why do you reject my soul, and why do you hide your face from me?" So the idea of hiding God's face is the idea of him rejecting, but him turning his face towards, or talk about the light of his presence, his countenance upon his people, would be the opposite of that, and that is of receiving them, bestowing his favor upon them, his hesed, or his loving kindness towards them, that sort of thing. And so as we think about this all together, we could say, what a wonderful thing it is to walk in the light of God's presence. And as believers, we have the privilege of doing that. We have God with us every single day. His presence is with us as he guides us. His presence is with us as he manifests his presence to us through answered prayer, through working in our lives. And then also we have the light of his presence in the sense that we walk under his favor. We are now standing upon his grace because of what he's done for us through Jesus Christ. And so we're walking under the favor of God, the guidance of God, the presence of God. It's a wonderful life to live this way before God. And this is what pulls us through those hard times. As we recognize that we're not battling this life on our own, and we can never do it on our own, but we lean on the Lord, and He's the one that will pull us through, just as He was with Israel all those many years, as He pulled them from slavery into freedom. He'll do the same for us. But we just keep trusting in Him and delighting in the light of His presence and drawing all the more closer to Him. So let's be thankful for the light of God's presence, and let's walk under the light of God's presence today. So there's some things we can reflect on and think about as we do our reading today. With that, guys, I do thank you for watching the video today. Hope you guys have a great day. Love you guys. God bless.